payments going online, the threat of hacks, cybersecurity, privacy, phishing, all of that is also coming to the fore. And I recall MasterCard saying at the start of this event, every 11 seconds a business is hacked. How are you addressing some of these concerns?
Well, that is one of the foremost concerns that I think every banker has today. Because if we have to grow from about $3 trillion of payments, digital payments, and grow them to about $10 trillion, the fundamental pillar is protecting the ecosystem. And like Madam was saying, we are nearly reaching the last mile. And with that comes tremendous responsibility on the end of the ecosystem players, banks included, to be able to make the customers aware of how to be protected. See, ultimately, a big difference between the erstwhile, the world of the yore of physical is you can only rob as much or attack as much, right? It's going to be either a wallet, it's going to be a physical system, it's going to be a branch, right? But in the digital world, you just have to get it right once, right? And there's no cost of just mounting multiple attacks. You get it right once and you have a big bounty coming in, right? So which is why it is very important that we protect this. And we've been running multiple awareness campaigns. We recently rolled out something called as Pehchan Con, right? And the con being the con man, right? And that's in a very relatable way, because you also have to be able to communicate this to the customers in a very, very relatable way, in a way they understand. Ironically, even as the chief digital officer, I was never able to convince my mom to get on digital platforms till recently. And when she did, one of the first things she got to me was, hey, you know what, I'm so happy, somebody sent me some 20,000 rupees worth of something, and here's the link to be clicked. And I told Mama, don't do this. If you do this, you will end up wiping out many more hard-earned money, right?
No, that is a real problem. Actually, let me bring in Arundhati Bhattacharya for that, because you've often said, you're only as strong as the weakest link in the chain, and that is the consumer. No matter what technology you put in place, digital literacy is equally important as well. Ms. Bhattacharya, what are some of the emerging technologies that are coming around this, the kind of awareness programs that are coming in, and what sort of progress have financial institutions been able to make to tackle this growing concern?
So I think, you're absolutely right that it is awareness that is very much required. And for that, there are multiple things that are going on, including campaigns by the banks themselves, by the payment operators, by the regulator, sometimes maybe by the government also. And the fact of the matter remains that in spite of all of this, confidence tricksters can still get around you. And normally they put in a kind of a bait so that, some amount of people will still bite at the bait. And thereafter, for them, it's very easy to hack in. So the only way to tackle this is more and more awareness, taking the people on the journey of what the hackers are doing, getting those stories out in the social media so that people look at it and understand that these are the ways things can happen.
Abhijit, let me bring you on. In another important aspect for digital payments growth in the country is, of course, the regulatory environment. Now, from NPCI, you have rules regarding, how many UPI transactions, for instance, a single player can process. From RBI, you have this discussion paper coming out on whether or not, what merchant discount rates should be. Should UPI be charged at all to the customers? Is regulatory intervention required? What are your thoughts on some of these debates that are emerging? And how would you compare the regulatory environment in India, say, with the rest of the countries that you would be operating in?
It's a great question. And I think to really get perspective, you have to step back. As I said, I've had a lot of experience in Silicon Valley, which has always said this is going to be where the edge of innovation is. And I can tell you, point blank, India is way ahead of the rest of the world in terms of what we've accomplished. From where we were selling POS terminals 10 plus years ago to the type of things that we're innovating on now. So if you step back, any evolution, as long as it's going up and to the right, which we are, and we're accelerating up and to the right, is extremely important. And there will be minor debates as we innovate, test, calibrate, and I think that's what's happening. So net-net, the proof is in the pudding. We all started, in fact, you could say that India's payments ecosystem was behind some of the other markets, and we've zoomed past them, and we are zooming past them on an architecture that's never been seen before. I think we heard Mr. Khan talk about digital infrastructure. It's different. It's disruptive. And hence, we can recreate a digital economy in a way that's completely different than a vertically integrated world that others are working in. Hence, I think we should give our regulators, we should give the ecosystem a lot of credit that we're moving as fast as we can.
Okay, Nitin, as the country's largest bank, what is your sense?
The point that I made earlier, that if we are really serious about the next 150 million users coming in digital payments, whether on the cards network or on UPI or any other form, much of the UPI growth has happened because of the pricing. We shouldn't deny that. Now, if that is important for the next wave, that needs to be considered. If it seems like that the market has matured and the market will find its own equilibrium, then maybe let the market decide.
Well, yes, and as we heard earlier, solving for pain points is what is the best way to get people to adopt these digital technologies. On that note, all of you, thank you very much for your time. Ms. Bhattacharya, Kush, Akhil, Nitin, Aditya, and Abhijit. Thank you for your time. It's been a pleasure. Thank you.
Network 18 has been at the forefront in highlighting the success of the Digital India mission through its Digital India Vision initiative and will continue to do so in future in order to strive to promote the inherent potential that lies within a digital revolution and establish a blend of both competitive and collaborative spirit.